Okay, actually there is one single position that does exist in a golf swing, and that position is so important that it's what makes or breaks the swing. Let's head over to the swamp and get this going. Hey everybody, welcome back to the swamp. Okay, first let me explain this before we get to that one and only position in a golf swing. Here's what I mean by positions don't exist. Now, do you see all the so-called positions in there? No, but there's actually an infinite number of positions in this small little action. Anywhere you would stop would be a position. But since I'm not stopping, there are no positions. And this is true with any action or movement that our bodies make. You know, real positions only exist when things are not moving, even if it's only for a split second. All right, to show you what I mean, I picked this popular so-called impact position, which is right here. I picked that because I think it's one of the worst so-called positions to strive for. It'll ruin any swing, good or bad. But it's the same with all of their so-called positions, except that one and only position in a swing. We'll get to that soon. Okay, here's where knowing how the mind and body work together comes into play. And it's obvious to me that these instructors don't have a clue. Let me explain. You see, when your mind tells your body to get into this so-called position, you know, it's going to do the best it can to get you there. You know, your body will try to follow all your commands, whether they're right or wrong, even if it's impossible. But your body also knows it only has a fraction of a second to get you there. So it starts plenty early to get you in that so-called non-existent position. You know, it's not concerned with anything going on before that or anything after that. Well, then where does it go after that? Pretty much nowhere. After it hits the ball, everything just kind of dies because it had no business or no reason to be there in the first place. And there's no flow to it, no speed, no power. You'd be a lot better off just telling yourself to let those wrists whip that weight on the end of the stick through as fast as you can, because that about sums up what a swing is. And when you are whipping through with your wrists in the right spot, ending it here, you know, you'll find that that so-called position will be there, but only artificially on film, because in real life it just doesn't exist. Okay, I got to get a little technical here. You know, these clubs are machined with all these radiuses or curves and all these rounded corners and edges by CNC machines. You know, that's computerized numerical controlled, which are basically robotics, totally computer controlled. If you watch this being done, you'll see these machines move in every direction possible. You know, circular, spiral, whatever. But the reality is those machines can only move in straight lines. Granted, really small straight lines. Without going into detail, those lines are like 5/100,000ths of an inch. We would call that 50 millionths because that's what it is and it's easier to say. I know this because I spent the last 40 years writing thousands of programs for the aerospace industry. And what we do is we program every little position because that's how robots work. You know, they go from one position to the next in tiny little straight lines. Literally millions of different programmed in positions to make any shape you can dream of. Well, as it turns out, that's exactly how these golf instructors are trying to teach the golf swing, from one position to the next position, as if we're some kind of programmable robots. You know, us humans are capable of making fluid flowing motions in any pattern or direction we choose. You know, circular, angular, spiral, whatever we want. And I contend that a swing is also a fluid flowing motion. And yeah, if you film it and stop it, you can see what so-called position you're in at any given spot. But if you're not in the right so-called position, well, you can't just put that position into that motion that you already have. You have to change that motion to one that happens to have those correct so-called positions in them. And since that motion is just a simple little from here to here, you know, it's no problem to change it. The main part of the swing, you know, all the naturally ingrained sequencing and weight shifting that we all possess, that never changes. Notice I said the swing is from here to here. Well, that gets us to that one and only position in a golf swing. All right, here's that one single position in the golf swing. I call it the let it rip position. And that's the position we all try to get into before letting it rip. For me, because I know the swing is really just a simple throwing motion, that position is right here. You know, the exact same position I'd be in to throw anything. And you can see if I bent over there, I'd be exactly where I need to be. Now, if I took a ball back to throw it and then replaced the ball with the golf club, you can see, you know, I'd be in my perfect let it rip position. And since I said there are no positions in a moving motion, well, when you take something back in one direction and then go back in the opposite direction, there has to be at least a slight little pause. And that's when you get into your let it rip position. It's like if you toss a ball straight up into the air, there's a split-second pause just before it comes back down. And if you're thinking your setup position is another position in a golf swing, it isn't, because the swing hasn't started yet. And like I've explained before, it doesn't matter even a little bit where you start from, as long as you can get yourself into your let it rip position. Personally, I start somewhere around here. I just making sure my right foot is where I need it to be, because everything else moves a little, you know, it doesn't really matter. Okay, now I need to mention a few points here. First, if you notice, these instructors are teaching this kind of dead-wristed impact position. You know, and yeah, the pros and expert golfers do use that motion. But do you know why? It's because they're worried about putting too much spin on the ball. I don't know about you, but I've never had that problem. And if you're an expert, I would guess that you should be able to figure it out on your own anyways. You know, another thing I've noticed is a lot of these new, younger pros seem to have a much slower backswing, way more deliberate. It's like, you know, I believe it's because they know, you know, there's no hurry to get there, and they don't need to be whipping it back to build up all this lag. They know you can build up enough lag just from your let it rip position. And since it is a true position, you can pretty much program that in, you know. And the one thing that is the same with us and the machine is that they both need to be in the correct starting position to work. And with both of them, it doesn't make any difference how you get to that starting position. Okay, hopefully you see why striving for these stagnant so-called positions can really mess up a nice fluid flowing motion that our bodies want to do, and they're more incapable of doing it if we just let them. Oh, hey Cotton, what you got there?
Caught another one of them cottonmouths.
Oh,
It bit me.
oh, let me see that. Oh boy, oh, you get your butt over to the hospital.
No, I ain't too worried about it. Weren't no big deal.
Oh boy, yeah, whatever. You get your butt over to the hospital. I'm gonna call your mom. Yeah, he's a nut. They call him Cotton because he catches cottonmouths for the local snake handling preacher. You know, they're both totally whacked. And if you know where his big deal line came from, stick around to the end. I've got some more giveaways for you. I know this golf instructor, and he sent me these written instructions on how to walk. Yeah, he also moonlights as a walk instructor. All right, stand with your feet about 8 to 10 inches apart. You know, put all your weight on your left side and swing your right leg forward, landing on the heel of your right foot. Now your weight should be about 70 on the right side and about 40 on the left side. I love it when they do that, you know, 60-40, 70-30, and his 70-40 doesn't even add up to 100. What an idiot. Okay, now push off with your left toe until all your weight is on your right side. Now swing that left leg forward and do all the same things you did on the other side. Also, when your right leg swings forward, your right arm should be swinging backward. Then it's like rinse and repeat, vice versa. So yeah, could you imagine trying to walk like that? You'd be walking like some kind of robot. You know, well, you see what I mean. Yeah. All right, that big deal line came from a theater movie from 1976. The first one to tell me the name of the movie will win a dozen golf balls of your choice. Again, I say, let's try to have a few laughs while trying to get better at this crazy game. Well, that's about it. Hope you liked what I said, and thanks for staying to the end. Any comments or questions, you know what to do. And please like and subscribe. Until next time, see ya at the swamp.